Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Gary Tofu. Gary was a lady was out walking her dog, and her dog started barking at a box alongside the road, and they went over and investigated and found Gary taped up in a box alongside the road.
How big was he?
Oh boy. You know, just small. A baby. Yeah, I adore cats. We took Rosie from an elderly lady who had to go into assisted living and couldn't take her kitty with her. And when the lady passed away, they had her cremated, and all of a sudden they pulled in the driveway one day and say, "May we spread Rosie's mother's ashes out on the hill?" I said, "No, go right ahead." So Rosie's mother's up on the hill spread out. This is Raymond. Raymond was a stray that Harold and Jane got, and he had respiratory problems so bad that we pulled him out of it. He's got a lot of scar tissue in his air passages that create that noise he's making. Kitty right here was born on a jet at the Willow Run Airport. For a lot of years, Dorothy was the main caregiver for all these animals. She worked full-time a librarian here in town, and she would come home and do the chores by herself. That went on for 5 or 6 years. Dorothy was the only one out here doing it. She's the mind behind it. She's the one that keeps it going.
Little doggy I was petting, Mabel. She's ancient. We have no idea how old she is. She was hit by a car. We found her on the side of the road. She had a dislocated hip. She's been with us for probably about 10 years now. She's getting really old. She worries us.
This is Toto. He went to New Orleans and brought back a bunch of the Katrina dogs, and this is one of them that we kept for our very own. They're all special doggies. Miles came with another dog that we named Zevon. And when they come to rescue him, he was on a roof, and he wouldn't leave the other dog. The other dog was quite a bit older, and he jumped off and broke his leg. So when he came here, he was in a cast. That's why you see a little bit of a limp. Henry was a state fair pig, and he was the grand champion, and he got auctioned off. You know, just like all animals at fairs, they have to be auctioned off for meat at the end of the fair. Some big organization bought him, you know, as support to the local fair, and then they put him in a pen and sold raffle tickets to come to someone's house and barbecue him. And this little girl fell in love with Henry through the fence and raised $300 to buy $300 worth of raffle tickets, and she won. And Henry wound up here instead of in a barbecue pit. Come up real close. His name is Precious. We raised him from a chick from Chicago, and he's not so precious anymore. He attacks everybody that comes in here. But we close him up, make sure we keep him safe. The group of chickens we have across the way here, and they were a prank that somebody pulled on somebody. They ordered a bunch of chicks from a hatchery and had them mailed to someone's house. That's where all these chicks came from, over here. The ones that are running around in there. All right, Toto, I don't want no barking out of you. Where's she? Oh, she's right here. Good. That's Gertrude in the lead. Gertrude and one of the other, the other Tom came from Anti-Cruelty in Detroit. Probably seized out of someone's backyard as These white goats came from a lady in Illinois that had to be put into assisted living and she couldn't take care of her goats anymore, and they went to another sanctuary that didn't know what they were doing, and they weren't taking care of them properly. So they wound up here, and as soon as that lady knew that her goats were okay and everything, she was very happy, and then she passed away. That's Bam Bam. He was found at the road commission, I believe it was. Chelsea found him wandering around with a chain wrapped around his neck. None of these animals are aggressive. You go out and talk to them and feed them and just be gentle with them, they'll follow you to the end of the world. Goats are very compassionate animals. You see all these little trails? They stay right on the trails. Have you noticed that? They walk the same trails. That's where they walk. Joke about how that's I-94 and this I-75. You know, being a truck driver, this is their routes. This is their main route right here. This is right here. You can see it goes right up the hill. They stay in that same rut all the time. I just love it. That's what they walk in. Stephen Colbert.
What's Stephen's story?
He was just a little tiny goat, and they had at the Michigan livestock. They were selling him for meat. And one of our volunteers just couldn't bear to see him in that arena. He was too little to be there, so he was worth about that day. He was worth about 5 cents a pound. So he was about $3.50 worth of goat. They ran him up to 20 bucks. I mean, just So she bought him and brought him here. Stephen, you are crazy. You crazy. You crazy goat. You crazy goat. Well, I drive truck for a living. Have done it for 42 years. On March the 6th, I had a real bad wreck up on the Ohio Turnpike, and broke my leg and my neck. It was a tough battle, but you know, I'm still working on it. I'm trying to get better. I just had surgery again on my arm. I'm trying to get the feeling back in my hand. So far, it's not working, but it might.
Toto's your special...
She's my doggie. Dorothy brought her up to the hospital with me. She slept in bed with me all day one day in the hospital. That was a trip. That was a fun. Yeah, they took her, and she hopped right in bed with me. I've said from the very beginning I have work to do. This is my main goal in life. I like taking care of these animals. What's unique is this right here. Moo and Jefferson. They're both runaway steers, and they hang together all the time. Well, Jefferson was at the Albert Slaughterhouse in Detroit. He was headed for the killing floor, and one of the workers opened the killing floor. Kind of runs parallel to the wall, going to the outside, and there's a people door. And they started running up the aisle, and he was in the way, so he ran out the people door, and Jefferson was running up that way probably 100 times. They just go right past the people door, but Jefferson looked over and seen the people door open, and out he went. And you know, run around on the streets of Detroit. They finally tranquilized him on Jefferson Street. That's why his name is Jefferson. Stephen, you are crazy. You crazy. You crazy goat.